companies of life.
I have no money to give you.
Please, anything, please, a quarter, anything, just a couple of dollars, anything, a quarter, nickel, please. Hey, man, I really don't appreciate this.
That man is a product of a poor environment.
Welcome back to Kingston Reviews. Derek here. Thank you guys for tuning in for another video. I really appreciate it. So today I'm doing a part 2 of my reparations video that I did earlier, and I got probably the most views from that video and over 500 plus comments and counting. And so I thought I would do another video kind of explaining in much more detail why I think reparations is a complete pipe dream and is absolutely 100% for beggars. Okay, if you guys like content like this, please don't forget to like, comment, let me know what you think, whether you agree or disagree. Let me know your reasoning. I'm going to also go over some of the comments from the last video. And if you like content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your subscribing to the channel helps motivate me to put out more content like this. But let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so to kick off this video, I thought I would go ahead and read to you guys some of the awesome comments that I got from people. And I really appreciated the comments, either for or against, doesn't matter. Really enjoyed the conversation. And most people gave me some really good questions, so I thought I would read some of those to you guys. So this one is actually from Richana Wright 7977, okay? She says to me, sad part is that those who have not endured the trauma, for those who have no idea how this has affected people throughout their history, not being from America, you have no idea, right? I have no idea, because you've got running hot and cold water, air conditioning, everybody's got 2-3 cars, 2-3 TVs, cell phones. I really don't think there's much trauma. So my response to her was, what trauma? I think too many people suffering from PTSD, right, from thinking about this stuff way too much. It's time to move forward. It was my response to her. So the next comment that I thought I would go over with you guys, this one is from Melvin Cooper, and I've got his information up right there. So definitely appreciate the comment, Melvin. You actually had one of the better questions, so let's go ahead and respond to that. So the question says here, if your father worked for me and I owed him $5,000, but he died before I could pay him, who should I give the $5,000 to? Well, Melvin, excellent question, and that's actually my response to him. If you owed my father $5,000, the assumption is that you and my father had a legal contract for the $5,000, one that I could enforce in court, and my father was alive and then he died sometime recently. And yes, I could potentially take you to court and sue you for that $5,000. Now, that's what I said in my response. Now, here's the important distinction. Okay, Melvin, if my father, you're saying that I'm saying my great-great-great-great-grandfather from 300 years ago, then I would say that would be incorrect, because that's not going to fall under any statute of limitations that I'm aware of, nor is it fair or prudent, right? Because if I was to come at you and say, hey, your great-grandfather stole money from me and now I want you to pay for it, you can see how unfair that is, and it's not prudent, because who exactly is going to pay for this, right? Who's going to pay for this? But great question.
Hey, Sal, how come there's a brother on the wall here?
You want brothers on the wall? Love. Get your own place. You can do what you want to do.
So as I've told you guys in the past, my family and I actually came here in the 1980s, and we've been here for a long time. Moved originally to New York, and now we live in the wonderful state of North Carolina. And one of the things that I've heard from the first time I came here to the United States was 40 acres and a mule. We're owed something, we're going to get it. And there's really been a feeling from the community that they're going to get this thing like any day now. Like it's coming, it's definitely coming. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was, you know, the reality of this and whether it's actually going to happen. What are the laws as it pertains to reparation, and how would this actually work?
Would you as president take executive action to create this commission, or do you believe that it should happen in Congress?
Well, first of all, as you mentioned, Sheila Jackson Lee, she was an extraordinary leader who we just recently lost, and she was a friend and a real champion for so many issues. So I feel compelled to say that about her. On the issue of what we need to do going forward, look, first of all, we just need to speak truth about history, in spite of the fact that some people are trying to erase history and try and teach our children otherwise. We need to speak truth about the generational impact of our history, in terms of the generational impact of slavery, the generational impact of redlining, of Jim Crow law. I could go on and on and on. These are facts that have had impact. And we need to speak truth about it. And we need to speak truth about it in a way that is about deriving solutions. And frankly, I think that we, and part of that is studying it to figure out exactly what we need to do. But part of what we can do right now is, for example, what I'm talking about in terms of building an opportunity economy.
Shut the hell up! Shut up! Shut up!
All right, so I had to stop it right there. That's about as much of Kamala that I can take in my entire week, okay? So basically what she's saying is that here we go again. In order to justify whether we do reparations, let's get a committee together, okay? And really what's going to end up happening here is more political jargon, more political footwork and dancing around. Long story short, a lot of money is going to get spent and none of it's actually going to benefit anybody. And it's clear to me and to most everyone else that has a rational and open mind that the Democrat Party has been playing Black Americans as fools for the last 100 years.
You know what we're going to do? What? We're going to give every last one of you 40 acres and a mule. And a mule? 40 acres and a mule. Gee, because we're your friend. And you're going to become voters. And you're going to vote like your friends do.
At the end of the day, this is not a law that anyone's going to sign. Maybe a president or someone like that could do an executive order. But even if they did, we still run up against the problem of who's going to pay for it. You've got to think about this. I know you guys don't like to think about things. You just want what you want. But exactly who's going to pay for this?
Well, you ask, whose money should I use? Well, who got more money than they know what to do with? The government.
Is this something that's going to be paid for by Santa Claus, right? Or is it going to have to be paid for by business and by taxpayers, which is in effect just going to increase inflation and increase taxes, right?
H.R. 40 would establish a federal commission, much like the one that investigated the forced relocation and incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II. A stroke of the president's pen could make H.R. 40 law.
Reparations is something that we are not just asking for, something we deserve.
As I just stated previously, there are lots of people that are also pushing for the president and the current vice president to do some sort of executive action. It's been done in the past. And so let's talk about that for a little bit. So yes, absolutely, in the past, countries have paid groups of people reparations for things that happened to them. However, one of the major differences between the two is the number, the sheer size of the reparations that will be required. So in the case of the Japanese Americans that were held here in the States and then they were paid reparations, I believe we're talking about a number of about 20,000 people, okay? So we're not talking about a number of 15 million, 10 million, whatever number of people that it would be for Black Americans, but we're talking about a much bigger number. Also, we're talking about such a bigger period of time since any of these events actually happened and the current time. But more important, like I keep telling you guys from before, it's not about the money, but it's about the mindset. Exactly what will happen when you do get the money if you have the terrible mindset that you think people from hundreds and hundreds of years ago owe you something.
And in part one about Brooklyn, we're going to show you how to use that money from the government. For example, did you know that food stamps cannot be used to buy alcoholic beverages? But how could I use that knowledge to work for me?
So one of the things that I talk a lot about is the mindset, right? And what I mean by that is, what is the value system that you live your life by? And I think if you have a value system that you believe you're owed reparations for something that happened over 300 years ago, I would say that there's a problem with your value system if you think that that money, even if you were to get it, would solve the problems of the community. The problems of the community are much deeper than that. I have a content creator that I've been watching. His name is Brooklyn St. Michael, and I'm going to play some of his video here and get you guys' thoughts and feedback on that.
And so as certain members from this group began to earn more money, they began to reinforce their inherited values on the rest of the black community. Now watch this. Among the professional classes in the Negro community, actors and entertainers are relatively numerous and have the largest incomes. Here we go. The actors and entertainers, who very often have a lower class background in the social hierarchy of the Negro community, exercise a far greater influence upon the morals and manners in the Negro community than actors and entertainers in the white community. And so these actors and entertainers were from the lowest class of the Negroes, or they were blacks that were the furthest down in the pit. And in terms of today, they would be equivalent to the blacks that are coming from the inner city projects, right? The ones who become rappers, athletes, and entertainers. And they have much more influence on that community than what those types of people have in a community like the white community, or the Indian American community, or the Vietnamese American community, or the Chinese American community. And they typically bring a set of values with them that keep that community going round and round in this never-ending cycle, right? And having people wondering what's wrong with those people.
So without going into all the details of his video and the book itself, and this book, keep in mind, and some of the quotes that he has, was written in 1957, right? So this mindset and value system on money and what is important in the black community has been corrupted for a very long time. And I know a lot of you guys don't want to hear it, but I'm not the only one that knows this and thinks this. And that's what he's making a point here in the video, is that there is an overemphasis on the value of money and what's important in the community. And oftentimes this is being led by entertainers. It's being led by politicians and people that may not actually have virtuous things in mind for the community.
Right, and they're also funded by many of the white folk. And both of them together, right, they eat lunch off of that community and suck the energy all out of that community. Suck it dry, right? And they're the ones that are highly influential to the youth, right? Just as they were in the 1950s when this book was written.
Now, I want to be clear. I actually don't care if anybody gets reparations or not. It really doesn't matter to me, except for if I have to pay for it. It's kind of the way I feel if you are a flat earther and you believe the earth is flat. It's really none of my business unless you happen to be my pilot, and then I'm going to care a whole lot, right? So the main thing I wanted to say to you guys is this: the mindset, right? The value system. It has to change. You've got to stop thinking that somebody owes you something. You're wasting all this time and energy waiting for your salvation when there's a whole lot of getting to be done out there in the world.
Johnny. 4 weeks. 20 papers, that's $2 plus tip.
Gee, Johnny, I don't have a dime. Sorry.
Didn't ask for a dime. $2.
Well, it's funny. See, my mom had to leave early to take my brother to school and my dad to work because...
$2. Cash.
All right, so we're closing in on the end of the video, and I thought we'd go ahead and wrap it up with a couple more comments from some of the great people that commented. Now, Big Rob 0920 gave me a couple great comments. Number one, he said, if it was so bad in America, why didn't you all go back home? Well, Rob, it's actually the greatest country in the world, and we knew that. And when we got here, even with the bad conditions that we were in, we could definitely see the potential of America, and the ability for you to go from 0 to 100 is always there in America, and that's why everybody comes here. It's the greatest country in the world, but thanks for asking. The next thing he said, which I thought was actually pretty funny, is you may or may not be right, but it's none of your business. Well, you're absolutely wrong about that, Big Rob. It's absolutely my business, and anybody can have an opinion, okay? You don't have to be a Black American. I also found out about a FBA, didn't know what that was until after my reparations video. You don't have to be a fundamental Black American to have an opinion on reparations. Anybody can have it, especially if you're a taxpayer. You can definitely have an opinion on it. Okay, guys, so that's the end of the video. If you guys like content like this, don't forget to like, comment, get in the box. Don't be afraid to get in the box and let me know what you guys think. I really appreciate it whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And now I'm going to ask you guys to do one more thing for me. If you guys are here at the end of the video, share this with a friend. I really appreciate it. And don't forget, guys, do the right thing. Be virtuous in your day.
We're going to do something we're going to regret for the rest of our lives.
Doctor,
Come on, what?
always do the right thing.